The torment is not the fire alone, but the knowing. I knew the light and betrayed it. It was meant for me, and I ran from it. Even Jewish Kabbalah speaks of this condition. It calls it the Sitra Achra, the other side. A spiritual realm where the light of the eternal is veiled, where the holy is no longer seen, but mocked. There, the soul lives within the kelipot, dark husks that imprison the light, and those who linger too long in those husks will be sealed within them. Not as punishment, but as consequence. Because what the devil seeks is not merely your life. He wants your form, your essence, your eternity. That man should die, never having known who he truly was. Not everyone who falls is lost. For as deeply as man may sink, there is a point where even the devil falls silent. A moment of stillness that is not of this world. A glance, a pain, a word. And suddenly something breaks through the inside. A shadow stirs. A long-forgotten light begins to flicker. Not loudly, not triumphantly, but like a memory that could never die. Some call it grace. Others call it awakening. It is the moment when man can no longer bear himself, not out of fear of punishment, but because he senses he is no longer truly alive, but only functioning. He realizes, I was seduced, I was darkened, I was a stranger to my own being. Augustine wrote, "Our heart is restless until it rests in you, O God." And this restlessness is no curse. It is the call, the remembrance of what was before the noise began. When a person truly repents, not superficially, but with a trembling heart, something breaks open, not by his own strength, but because the light never fully left him. The darkness that lived within him begins to flee, not all at once, but layer by layer. And what remains, the truth, begins to awaken. The kelipots shatter, the masks fall away, and man realizes, I am not the one I had become. It is a painful path back, for one must walk through everything he himself has built. But it is a path, for he who is the truth never lost the knowledge of you. Not in your fall, not in your hatred, not in your darkness. And if you call upon him with a sincere heart, not with words, but with a single burning sigh, he will hear you. The Lord is near to the broken-hearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. And in a sacred hadith, it is said, "When my servant draws near to me by a handspan, I draw near to him by an arm's length. And when he draws near to me by an arm's length, I draw near to him by a fathom. And if he comes to me walking, I come to him running." Such is the light, not demanding but ready, not loud but watchful. Man does not have to be perfect. He only has to take the first step. Those who believe the devil retreats as soon as the light touches have not understood the gravity of truth, for it is precisely the one who sets out on the path back who becomes the target. The enemy is subtle. He knows those who have already fallen. There is no need to disturb them, but those who begin to rise, they must be bound, confused, scattered. And so begins a new war. Not outside, but within. Not with blows, but with doubts. It begins in the morning when you wake up and immediately flee into your phone, just to avoid feeling yourself. He speaks when you reach for the bottle in the evening, not to celebrate, but to silence your thoughts again. He acts when you yell at your child, not because they were wrong, but because you cannot bear yourself, because there is something inside you that must scream, even if you regret it afterward. Or when you stay silent, when you let bitterness fester, when your marriage has become a cold pact, out of fear of being hurt, when you hold on to resentment for years, when you nurture thoughts of revenge and call it justice, when you grow cold and believe that is strength, that is where he works, right in the middle of everyday life. The Desert Father, Evagrius Ponticus, wrote, "Every thought that separates you from prayer is not your thought." And that is the key. Not every thought that haunts you is yours. Not every feeling that drags you down is true. Not every voice inside you is for you. The devil has many tools: doubt, pride, comparison, self-pity. He will offer you false importance. Instead of truth, he will keep you busy with 1,000 things just so you forget who you were becoming. And that is why awakening is only the beginning. Those who wish to return to the light must pass through the darkness, not once, but again and again. It is a daily struggle for clarity, a constant remembering, a battle for the inner space, for the heart, which is so easily taken captive once more. But you are not alone, for once you have heard the call, it lives within you. It remains like a silent star above the battlefield. And sometimes it is enough to look up for just a moment, to know you are still on the path. Just before the light becomes firm within you, the shadow will grow furious. Not quietly, not subtly, but with all its might, for it senses that you are no longer its own. And so it throws everything it has against you: old fears, old vices, lost desires, unresolved guilt. Suddenly, memories appear you thought long forgotten. Faces, voices, words that once broke you. You dream of old failures. You fall back into patterns you believed you had already overcome. And you ask yourself, why now? I was almost free. But that is the final trick. The devil clings to what he can no longer hold. If you once sought refuge in drink, he will now lead you into emptiness, into the craving for numbness, If you once burned with anger, he will now provoke those who can wound you the deepest. If you had almost found your faith, he will send you doubts, disguised as reason. He will whisper, "Are you really sure? What if it's all just an illusion? What if you're deceiving yourself?" But this is not the light that questions. It is the darkness that tries to save itself. Saint Macarius of Egypt wrote, "The soul that frees itself from evil is attacked fiercely, for the enemy senses he is losing her. It is the storm that rises before the sea calms. It is the darkness of the last night before the morning begins. The final resistance is cruel. It will make you doubt everything: yourself, God, meaning, the path. But if you see it for what it is, if you do not fight like an animal, but stand firm like a soul, then the darkness will begin to break. For the devil can do many things, but he cannot remain where man truly believes, truly loves, truly repents. If you endure, not with rage, not with escape, but with the quiet cry, "I no longer belong to you," then it begins. The new, not loudly, but unstoppable. It doesn't come with thunder, not with visions, not with rejoicing. It happens quietly, like a room where suddenly there is air. You wake up and feel something inside you has stopped screaming. Not everything is healed, but something is free. The shadow no longer rages. It still whispers, but you no longer believe it. You see your anger, but it no longer rules you. You feel the temptation, but you no longer obey it. You remember your guilt, but you no longer curse yourself for it. You are not redeemed. You are on the way. And the light is no longer a stranger. It lives within you, not like a guest, but like something that was always there, but hidden. As Meister Eckhart, the mystic and theologian of old, reminds us, the light you are seeking is within you. It waits for you to remember. And now you remember. Moments in your childhood when you did not explain, but simply knew. The longing you had suppressed. The goodness within you, like a buried star. The devil has not disappeared, but he has lost because you have stopped believing him. And God, he was never far. He never doubted, never hesitated, never looked away. When you remember, everything within you remembers. You have not become an angel, but you have returned, and that is enough. Even in ancient hidden Gospels, this call was kept alive, for those with ears to hear. As we find in the Gospel of Thomas, there is light within a person of light, and it lights up the whole world. If he does not recognize it, he remains in the darkness. And further on, it says, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you." if you do not bring forth what is within you. What you do not bring forth will destroy you.